3 days after my grandfather passed away, all the funeral processions ended, and while organizing his keepsake, I stumbled upon a pile of old, worn-out notebooks. Turning the yellow pages slowly, I became absorbed into a world 80 years ago. The notebooks were none other than my grandfather's diaries. My name is no longer Hwang Jong-sik. Yesterday, Imperial Japan decreed that colonized Koreans must Japanize our names, and my name is now Go Shu-shok. Japan may try to erase my identity and attempt to break us away from the pride of our heritage, but they will never be able to touch my true self. In life and in death, as long as my spirit is alive, I am still Hwang Jong-sik. My grandfather's diaries were not mere accounts of his daily life, but a record of Korea's modern history that he wrote under the pain of death. A storm I could not quell boiled up in my heart. Empathizing with my grandfather's lament, I started to search throughout history for accounts of other ethnicities that were oppressed under the weight of growing superpowers. The fall of the Korean Empire, the bankruptcy of my family, the drafting of my granduncle into the militia to be used as a bullet shield in the Pacific War, the torment of being invaded by a brother nation, and the jubilance of independence from colonization all rested within these pages. A few pages ago, I did not understand the weight of the privilege of studying in the world's most advanced and open-minded nation, the United States, the greatest superpower the world has ever known. I had just assumed it to be a personal blessing, but now I saw where my destiny was to lie. To become a searchlight in the darker, conveniently forgotten annals of history. The world know the victim stories, and I must play a part in making sure that such adversity does not cross humanity's destiny ever again. China is a land where 55 ethnic minorities struggle to preserve their heritage for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Although ethnic minorities populate all regions of China, Wonnan Castle, an area where 26 minorities were living together, especially enticed me. In order to understand them, I concluded that I must first learn about them. With this simple conviction, on March 2008, I journeyed to the land where, like Korea, legends are not hundreds, but thousands of years old. The brevity of the spring break did not allow me to visit every minority camp. So, I decided to focus on Baekchok, a people who claim to be descendants of Korea's ancient kingdom, Goguryeo, and Nashijok, a nomadic people who, under the pressures of China's communistic agendas, were forced to forego of their traditions and settle down as farmers since the Cultural Revolution. Meeting the Baekchok people was like looking into a time capsule. In ancient Asia, Koreans were known as the only people that favored white-colored clothes over bright colors. Baekchok continued to cherish the beauty of white. In fact, the word Baek means white. Like Koreans, they ate kimchi, fermented beans called doenjang, and long rice cakes shaped like sausages. Also, they used farming tools such as the weeding hoe and A-frame with designs found exclusively in Goguryeo's archaeological sites. Meeting the Baekchok, I became overwhelmed with joy, but at the same time, my heart went out to them. For too long have they lived separately from their brothers. Physically, they seem to embody the marks, such as the high cheekbones that are found most commonly in Koreans compared to people of other Asian nations. As I watched Baekchok girls who were of my age dancing on stage, my heart wept. There was a time when they could proudly claim the origins of their heritage, but under China's one-nation policy, they were forbidden to claim that they were a people distinct from the Han Chinese, the historical ruling party of China. Swallowing my tears, I interviewed a Baekchok dancer, but my mind kept on wandering. If their territory was not invaded by China's Tang dynasty, they would be living as Koreans now, and the 1,500 years of oppression would never have occurred. Then, perhaps, she and I would have studied in the same school in Korea and gone to church together. Moreover, she would have been encouraged to practice her heritage rather than being allowed to just perform dances, a cash flow scheme to vitalize the local economy. It would have been possible for the old and the modern to coexist for her. During the recorded interview, she claimed that her tribe was a part of China. But once the camera was off, I must have won her trust, for she told me that any speak of her true heritage line would be labeled an insurrection, as in Tibet. After the interview, I traveled to Yeougang Castle, the residence of the Nashi people. During the fall of China's Song dynasty and the birth of Won dynasty, the Nashi built a small village in the valleys of Chupchup Mountains. 800 years since the village's first cornerstone was laid, the architectural heritage and the integrity of the ancient buildings are still preserved. It now serves as China's poster minority village, a propaganda town that draws the world's eyes to China's respect for diversity. Bound by wood and dirt, the mended tiles, ancient buildings, lovingly embrace the 800 years old stone road and whispers to his old friend of the marriages, the festivals that celebrate the life of the Nashi. I changed location to Gonmyeong, and the Nashi's lesser publicized village. Here, everything looks good from the outside, but the real situation is a sharp contrast. With the Beijing Olympics just around the corner, the Chinese government, alarmed by Tibet's cries for liberty, were strangulating inhabitants of lesser publicized regions like Gonmyeong. A dark cloud loomed over my soul. I was beaten, but a local brought me into his humble home for the night. Everywhere I went, minorities were put on display, as if their very existence was entertainment. I can't understand why people with such beautiful and peaceful cultures are violated of the right to independence, the freedom to practice their cultures and claim pride in their heritage just because they lack military might. The oppression and the poverty of these proud souls deprived their spirits of humanity, and they just danced, as if to forget the unexplainable destitution into which they were destined to live out each day. Just imagine for a second being born into a group whose members were destined for tourists. Any attempt to step foot outside of the village without government approval is seen as a crime. The adults learned to hide their torture behind their wide smiles, but the children's eyes betrayed their innocent inner hearts. China is a country that boasts the world's third largest landmass. I don't understand why it feels the need to expand its borders and hungrily wraps its dragon coils around every opportunity. Reality seems so sickening. I don't understand why such beautiful people are reduced to this, or even worse, this.